why do we try to create machines that are as intelligent as humans? Maybe there's a different intelligence that is worth exploring.
Welcome to a brand new episode of our podcast, Human and AI, Mind, Machines, and the Gradient Descent.
Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate your time with us. We are Supra and Uli, moderators of today's session. And our today's awesome mind is Jennifer Heier. She is the head of UX-driven AI at Siemens Digital Industries and loves to combine human desirability, business viability, and technological feasibility.
What is that all about? We are super stoked to talk to you, Jenny, and get a bit of a glimpse of your view on, what means being human in an age of AI. But you know what? Let's dive right into that.
Jenny, thanks for taking some time with us. How are you, and where do we catch you today?
Hey, Uli and Supra. Thanks for having me. I'm actually doing pretty good. Thank you. I hope you guys too. And I'm at home with a newborn baby at the moment. So that is quite an analog challenge, actually.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On this happy note, let's have a quick check-in. This is more of rapid fire. All right, I'll give you two options. You choose whatever is best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee or tea?
That's an easy one. I go for coffee.
Alps or beach?
That one is more difficult, so I think I would go to the Alps first and then to the beach.
Smart option, I should say. Are you a cat person or a dog person?
Absolutely dog person.
Oh, I'm with you there. I'm one too. Artificial intelligence or human?
That is also a tough one. So at the moment, I would say I'm more interested in AI and the human side. So yeah, also maybe interested in AI a lot, but with a human touch.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, Jenny, I've known and admire you actually, not only for your passion, I guess, for innovation and your expertise, in the industrial design space, but actually also for your inclusive laughter, right? Isn't it? but maybe for the folks out there who don't know that a bit longer, right? Can you maybe, share a couple of thoughts in a couple of minutes? Who are you and how do you end up at a place like Siemens?
Yeah, sure, Uli. So as you already mentioned, I'm an industrial designer at heart, and I'm also specialized in user and customer research. And I studied in Darmstadt, where I did my diploma, also in San Francisco, where I did my bachelor, and also in Edinburgh, where I did my master. And I love to work in a diverse and cross-disciplinary team, close to new technology topics, and contributing my passion for human-centric innovation, and always continuously questioning the status quo. I also worked as a designer in Zurich, Eindhoven, London, and I also co-founded a startup called Mr. Beam. And actually, I ended up in Munich in 2016 working for Siemens CT, but changed role and division in 2018, so 2 years ago. And as you already mentioned, I'm currently working at Siemens Digital Industries in the data lab as head of UX-driven AI. And I hope to bring the human factor into the B2B context. And besides that, I'm also interested in teaching and research. So I taught design innovation at the University of St. Gallen, and I'm currently doing my PhD at the Bauhaus University in Weimar. So the topic is around investigating how the creative community should and could positively influence the AI development. And I really believe in the power of my profession as a designer to contribute and add value to the challenges as well as opportunities of the digital age.
Wow.
Boom.
What a rich. You had some journey to be the head of UX-driven AI at Siemens.
There you go.
Right? Jenny, you mentioned you've already been working with, or you already worked with a lot of teams, advising them in applying human-centered innovation and industrial design thinking. How do you see the difference between that from corporate to the business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, there is a difference. So at CT, my role, I've been a consultant pretty much, and I worked in a lot of different divisions. So that was very interesting, and I gained a lot of insight there, and I also learned a lot. But I would say more on the surface. And in that way, I was helping my teams because I had a really broad overview and I could bring in, insights from one division, and where we solved the problem, I could bring that in into a new context. And that was very good for the teams. Whereas now in the digital industries, I'm working more as a team member in the projects and digging really deep into the topics and issues. So that is great too. And I would say that both roles I really liked, and I can add value in different ways.
Uh-huh. And if we roll back a few years from now, you have pursued your master's in the UK on the topic of air quality awareness among citizens in Munich, Oslo, San Francisco. I also learned the project in San Francisco was sponsored by Intel IoT Lab, London, right? What do you see is the role of human awareness in the IoT space in this topic?
hmm Yeah, Supra, I think this is actually a very important question, because as we conducted our research in those three cities, we first of all realized that air quality is a very abstract topic for the citizens. They couldn't see the bad air. The only thing they could see was the fine dust from the cars, but for them that was not enough to really grasp the whole topic. So therefore they didn't care so much, and they haven't been informed very well. So this is actually very similar to the current AI development, I would say. So our first challenge was to figure out a way to make the citizens aware. So we had to make something invisible, air, visible. So we took some balloons actually and filled them with gas in order to start a conversation with the citizens, to kind of give them some visualization of air, that we could start the whole conversation. And that was actually the precondition we needed to all the rest that followed in that project. So I think, yeah, awareness is very important, and sometimes it's not given, not only in IoT or, not only in those topics. And then it's really helpful to find a way to make this more tangible for the citizens and for the people who are not experts and who are not involved normally in those issues.
Undoubtedly, with all the new developments in the world, air qualities and the awareness about us most important, I guess.
hmm
And you mentioned about Mr. Beam earlier,
hmm
and it's a successful relationship with that I heard. So what is that all about?
Yeah, so Mr. Beam, that was actually a really interesting episode in my life. So when we started that project, 3D printers started to enter people's homes. Yeah, so this is a couple of years ago. And we had one too. And since I'm a designer, I know how to use CAD modeling software. And therefore, we could really make use of this printer. Others make cookie cutters all the time. And we realized that for others, there's still a barrier to use those maker hardware due to the lack of their software skills. And actually, we thought what would also be handy would be to own a low budget laser cutter, that this would be really cool, actually. And then we started to experiment with laser diodes from DVD burners. So we took old DVD burners and cut out the diodes and used them for laser cutting. And that was actually, to our surprise, quite successful. And what we also did, we also programmed a web interface for the graphics you laser cut. So no extra software skills were needed to really use this laser cutter. It was like uploading a photo, and then the software transformed the pixels into vector graphics. And then you were ready to go pretty much. And we showed this to friends, and they all said, "Oh, I want one too." And we realized that there might be really a scene and a market for those machines. And then we went on Kickstarter, and that was when everything went completely crazy, actually. I think we wanted $80,000 at that time, and we got 250,000. So, yeah, today Mr. Beam is a little company that is employing 12 people. I'm not involved anymore. I never wanted to run a company. I'm more the person that is passionate about the idea and see how far you can go from there. And then, when things get serious and you have to deal with German laws and regulations, I decided to, okay, so this baby, they are far enough and they can stand on their own feet. Yeah, so that was the story behind
How
Mr. Bean.
cool is that, actually, isn't it? That's somehow a secret, not secret, but the interesting narratives. How cool is that? So still printing, still hot rotation on 3D prints then, yeah? But you guys still have some kind of relationship, isn't it?
Sure.
So,
Yeah, sure. No,
sure, yeah.
absolutely. And I'm always interested how the guys are doing and, if they have questions regarding design stuff, then I'm happy to help.
That's pretty cool. Speaking of interests, you seem to be also have a quite interest in the quote of Dan Dorman, right? At least in his article, we have unwittingly accepted the paradigm that technology comes first. This requires people to act like machines. That's pretty provoking, isn't it? Do you follow also his narrative that, currently bad technology dominates our life? This is what he, I guess, pushes a bit out, right? What is a bad technology, or is it the application anyway?
Well, I have to be honest, I'm easily excited about new technology too. But sometimes I also fall into the trap of technology first. But if you pause for a moment and reflect what technology really does for you, sometimes you realize it doesn't really make your life easier or better. And sometimes it is even making your life worse. For example, when you don't get a credit because you are older than 60. And a good product takes technology, business, and humans into account. Actually, the three aspects you mentioned in my introduction. And if one or two of the three are overrated, the result is not good. So sure, humans are hard to deal and work with because of their emotions and, their unpredictability. And machines are easier to predict and therefore easier to handle. And at the moment, everybody wants AI, whether it is useful or not. And this means, we end up with a lot of bad products that actually nobody really needs. And especially with AI, I would say, why do we try to create machines that are as intelligent as humans? Maybe there's a different intelligence that is worth exploring and that could more run parallel to us and really have a, kind of ping pong or add value to the lives of humans and then also the stuff machines are doing.
So we've been talking a lot about technology now. Let's get down to it. How do you define a human-centered technology, or what is it for you? The MIT defines human-centric AI as the design, development, and deployment of systems, often information systems, right, that learn from and collaborate with humans in a deep, meaningful way. Is this still your definition too, or would you change it in any other way?
Mm-hmm. So, to me, a better definition would be that human centric AI is about defining the goals of AI to meet the human needs and to work within the human environments. So, it is important to take this into account from the beginning of a project and not only as an afterthought when the data is labeled, and the models are chosen and trained, and you have this ready-made thing running, and then you ask the designer to make a nice user interface or put a bit of explainability onto the black box. So what I don't like so much about the definition of the MIT, that it comes when most of the things are already decided, and I think it is important that that you define the goals and the needs first, and then you run the project from there, and then you have human-centered AI or human-centered technology.
That's a kind of tough one, right? So if you look in current, realms of AI, or let's say machine learning, that it's everything is, we throw a hell lot of GPUs or compute power onto a given problem associated with a lot of data, right? And this then let's figure out the machine learning algorithm that it finds the patterns, in the data set, and therefore we, dominated by a data centric approach, right, of approaching AI application, or let's say machine learning application. What's quite interesting is also a person or an expert I'm highly admire, Stuart Russell, right, famous for his artificial intelligence modern approach. I guess still the book for teaching in universities. He brought a new book out. It's called Human Compatibility, and he somehow argues that the challenges when it comes to in this data-driven world is that we need to set different target objective function, let's say, right? Human purpose, authority, well-being as the one aspect, and therefore he proposes like we need to move from a data-centric to a human-centric approach, right? Kind of great to see, such a great mind, Stuart Russell, articulating these kinds of thoughts. What are your thoughts on that? Have you read it? Do you know that?
No, I have to admit I don't know the book, to be honest. But it sounds interesting, so I should buy it and read it. And I would agree to his statement as far as you put it. Yeah, I personally think that we lack the methods and tools we need for this so far. So at the moment, it is data centric, and we have to move to human centered because we deal with great complexity when it comes to AI systems and systems that are changing over time because they learn. This is nothing we had so far, especially as a designer. You ship a ready-made product normally. This is, and with AI, it's not like software development that we had so far. It's really another level. And the only thing we can do at the moment is we can try new things and see if they work out in the future.
At the moment, I think smart, applications, we are the target of objection of these machine learning systems. We're dominated by innovation in that, and innovation means growth, right? And growth in the current world means GDP. Somehow, economic growth. And right, isn't that, as long as we tie that innovation as growth, and growth needs to be in some economic value, isn't that a deadlock then? Or do we need a different notion of growth? It means not targeted towards, increase of GDP.
Yeah, or maybe we need another definition of innovation. This is the other question, actually. But yeah, I absolutely agree. And actually, I was wondering if we learn something from the current situation with Corona, yeah, where, people do less travel and then we see less air pollution. And my big question is at the moment, will this last after we go back to normal, whatever normal means at that point? And yeah, absolutely. And I mean, also with AI, we have a lot of projects and they cost energy and they cost manpower and, but in the end, is there really a value add that justifies all the resources put in there? And therefore, I think it's really important that, we work together to really define the use at the beginning of those AI projects to really make sure that it is sustainable and it is adding value and not money wise, but maybe in other means. Absolutely.
I see that. I mean, you were talking of innovation now, right? Till date, AI is mostly used for imitating what humans are responsible for. So if there is someone in the organization who is doing a particular job, you teach a model to do the similar task for you. That is one kind of innovation, imitating the human behavior. But the other kind is where you teach a machine to innovate. Is that even a possibility? That would be super cool. How do you see that interplay?
So yeah, I know some designers who are really afraid of AI and those that even deny that AI or machines can be creative or therefore, innovative. But I personally think, this is a great thing if we have machines that can innovate and be creative because the machines could enhance or augment our creative potential. And there are some great examples out there already. For example, auto draw from Google or music composing AI like aiva.ai or ampermusic.com. And, designers really use this to make great stuff and they still have fun and they still can be creative in their work. And even, CAD modeling is supported by AI from Autodesk. or think about the little AI helpers from Photoshop. So, I think this is a good thing because it really empowers us to, have more time for other things. And I also believe in the resilience of the design professions. We will be able to find other means to add value to the digital era. That, technology always influenced our job. If you think about the internet and therefore the websites and web interfaces. So I see a bright future actually working together with AI to come up with creative and innovative things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most often we see that as AIs as stealing our jobs, but instead it is enabling us to do other jobs, isn't it?
Yeah, but that, incorporates change and, a lot of people don't like change. So yeah, there you go.
We are famous for change management, aren't we? Right? Just kidding. But I guess the beauty is that the field, what I really find attractive is that the field of AI incorporates actually a broad variety of different communities stimulating each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it's the creative industry, which was always tied also towards the technology industry, right?
Yeah.
AI and generative design or stuff like that is actually not that new.
No.
I
No.
think
Yeah.
especially the arts, explores the capability of in all different realms, and that's also with data driven or machine learning or technology driven. Though I remember that you had some thoughts in articles actually written down on when you visited the ITSCAI, I think it was in Stockholm, right? The conference, one of the leading AI conferences, I guess, right? Nowadays, still in play. And it's like, if I look there, they're all geeks, they're all, technology fascinating. Though I think they're missing, where's the picture, where's the implication, where's the ethics, where's the cultural challenges, what's the human factor? Where you said like, that seems to be not missing. Though I would say, yes, I agree, but I think that changed. All the notion about trustworthy AI, responsibility, all that ethics discussion on, in different European level, but also on corporate level, right? I think it changed, doesn't it? They're talking about now also on reproducibility, explainability, also geeky stuff like energy footprint, right? What's your view? Do you see that, over the last 3-4 years, do you see that change happening and that the communities are more interacting with each other?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say you're absolutely right, Uli. It is changing, but still, I think it's not enough yet. Yeah. And why is that? And I also wanted to add to what you said. Generative design is not new, and artists and designers have always a close bound to technology. So, what is the problem at the moment with AI and machine learning? And I think what we have here is that the technology is very still in expert mode. Yeah, you need a certain level of knowledge to really dig deep into the conversations, and there is a way to go for things like auto ML or those kind of things. And that, when it comes, for example, to prototyping, designers are really good at prototyping, but at the moment we only have the Wizard of Oz kind of thing to prototype an ML or AI application, and this is just not enough. And you cannot run a whole development cycle with a machine learning algorithm and then you realize, oh, this is actually not answering any need. This is really a tough challenge. And even if we have auto ML, we will face new challenges like the black boxes and that kind of thing, and then we have another level that we have to take care of. So I think we have to keep on creating awareness. We had this already with air quality and those kind of things, and systems that can be understood by a greater number of people from diverse backgrounds. And I think that, yes, you are right. There's, the conversations is starting, but we are not there yet. We shouldn't stop here. We should keep on going towards this goal.
You were mentioning about understanding different concepts. Now, what I'm trying to understand is what is human-centered design methods, because I'm pretty newbie for that.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the role of design methods, especially in this age of AI, right? With all the hype of AI. And in your eyes, what do you think are the most useful design principles for AI?
Mm-hmm. So I think a great starting point for this discussion is, for example, the Google AI Playbook. And also Microsoft created some guidelines for human AI interaction. You can find those online. And this is a lot about, feedback and control, so explainability, and also, when I'm not happy with the result of the algorithm, I want to give feedback, otherwise how can the system learn? It's a lot about, explainability and trust in those systems, and the importance of defining a starting point, and also define, when you are successful. That is also very important. It's a lot about how you handle errors and failure. And I think this is really a great starting point, but it's only a starting point. And I think it's also sometimes very detached from context awareness. So, what does feedback and control specifically mean for my project, in my case? And this we are not answering yet. Therefore, I think you need tools you can use, like, for example, what you did for the business model canvas. Yeah, you can use this really to come up with a business model and a business idea. But for AI development, we miss those tools, and we really have to create them. This is also, a bit about why I do this research and why I do my PhD in that topic, because, we have some tools there and you can use them to a certain extent. And then, AI and those ecosystems, they need a bit more than we have at hand at the moment, because of the complexity, because you don't ship ready products, and because, it is very data driven and not so much human driven.
Mhm. How does these principle, or this bit of the guideline or playbook, right, that you are researching on, how does it resonate to current applications and use cases? Can you share some to the external audience? What you talked about?
Yeah. So, for example, one big topic within digital industries is predictive demand planning for our production sites, right? So, Siemens is really good with long-term planning, but, these days we realize that, 5-year plans do not fit the reality anymore. So, those guys really struggle with, planning the right demand for the factories, and you cannot, easily split one production line with the other within a couple of minutes or hours. We are talking about days here. So, and then, what's really interesting, and what is the first thing is, the expectation management with all the stakeholders involved, because, the planners, the actual planners, they are afraid of losing their job, and then you have to tell them, hey, no, this is not replacing your job. This is just, you have to change your job, or we change your job profile. And then you have the management that really thinks like, oh, of course we can get rid of the planners. Amazing. Yeah, AI will do everything by magic out of the box. So this is always a very important step, the stakeholder and expectation management. And then also what I realized in my research that, you have to figure out, and I think, Oli, you guys do a really good job with the AI lab here, what kind of knowledge about AI and the possibilities do I have in my team, or in the team I work with, and really make sure that you are kind of the same page, that what are error metrics, to when we come back to defining your success. Yeah, it's not easily understood by everybody what error metrics mean, yeah, or the different error metrics. So what else did we realize? Yeah, a lot of this, what is very crucial is to work really, I hate the word too, but agile and iterative work. Yeah, it's really hard to say like, okay, now we have 1 year time for this project and we will be here exactly in 1 year. This is not going to happen. So really work in short cycles, and then in our case, start with a small amount of products. I think in the factories we have sometimes 20,000 products. Yeah. And I shouldn't start a demand planning, a predictive demand planning with the whole amount of products. I should start with maybe 20 to 30 smart samples that have, different criteria where I can train the models on, and where I can easily have a first, proof of concept and see how the stuff is working. So it's, yeah, a lot in the flow or in the flux. I would say that, we try a lot out and then we see what works and what doesn't work. And then finally, if you think you can easily scale this to another production site, then you realize, oh, their data looks completely different. So it's really hard to just take the same models and the same things out of the box and just put this different data in there and you will have the same results. it's a bit like, starting over again, but at least you are familiar with the process and you are familiar with the steps you have to go through when you try to scale this to another production site.
Absolutely. Jenny, you mentioned about predictive demand planning.
Hmm.
For someone who's not so familiar with AI, people might think, oh, that's a buzzword. I mean, when I have to think of AI, probably the first thing that comes to my mind is autonomous driving or predictive learning,
Hmm.
predictive maintenance. These are the buzzwords that immediately pops up. In your eyes, what do you think is the AI's biggest breakthrough in recent years? And how will that affect your sector over the next 5 years?
Hmm. So actually, I think that for me, the biggest breakthrough is a bit different than, how AI will affect the sector I work in. But for me, I'm really impressed with deep fake. For me, this is really impressive technology wise. But, on the other hand, it's super scary for society. And for me, this is so typical for humans and, the pair of humans and technology. And this is not only, AI relevant. We had this with the atom bomb and, other inventions in the past, that because we can do it, we do things and then they are super amazing and you are impressed. But then you have also this human trait, so to say, to really use this for the bad. Yeah? So you always have this good and bad things. And I think will always be a challenge we have to take care of. And therefore, diversity is very important. But what I really hope, what will affect the sector. So we are talking within Siemens about industrial AI, and I really hope that we gain a bit of speed when it comes to AI applications in the industry, because right now we are very cautious. We have so much data. This is really amazing. And I think there's so much potential in this data we can really use to have great AI applications, especially with the development we see in the B2C sector there. So I really hope that we, understand that AI in industry is not only about optimization, but also about, customization, and that we can deliver, personalized AI applications to our customers.
All right. Finally, after all your inputs on the technology and your field of expertise, for all the geeks out there, can you recommend any books or online courses for people getting involved or starting in the area of industrial driven machine learning?
Maybe I'm would say like it's not so much the focus on the industrial driven machine learning, but on machine learning in general. So what I really liked was a book from Patrick Hebron, O'Reilly I think is the publisher, Machine Learning for Designers. So that one is really helpful. And then I also like the book of why from Judea Pearl, that is about, what that the why actually is lacking in statistics and what that means for AI and all the data driven applications. And another book, and I think it's unfortunately only in German, but it's brand new, from Richard David Precht, KI und der Sinn des Lebens. I started reading that one. That's really nice because he's also talking about the implications for greater society and for the human future actually. And a great resource actually for learning is machine learning for artists. That's a site, if you Google this, it's on GitHub, where you have a lot of artistic and design driven projects with AI. And there's all the material and all the models are in there. And you can pretty much swap your data in there and try yourself. And then also from Miss Fiebring, she invented the Vecinator. That is also a really nice tool to play around. Yeah, so these are resources that I, would recommend for people who are interested to, get started.
I think that's very useful for all the folks who are interested in learning machine learning and even the design aspects of it.
Yeah.
Right? And we are almost at the very end of our session, Jenny. But before we close the session, we want to play a small game with you, right? If Uli asks me or starts with the sentence, Jennifer is, I would say genius. So I would give you the starting part and then you would complete the sentence for me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to
I'm
play the
ready.
game?
Ready.
All right. Siemens is.
A big corporation with a strong heritage and a lot of great people working towards its transformation.
Business to society is.
Too often money focused and short-term goal-driven.
Mm-hmm. And innovation is?
That's a good one because we had that. I think it's often overrated and misunderstood because it gives a lot of different concepts for innovation.
That's a lovely answer, I must say. My favorite quote is,
There's only one constant, and that is change.
uh-huh. And my personal superpower is?
I think my laughter, my loud laughter,
Definitely.
and also my curiosity.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Jenny, thanks so much for, in first place, being you and spending this time with us, right? It was a pleasure and adventure at the same time. And folks out there, stay tuned. There's so much to come. Stay bold, committed, and open-minded. And we hear us at the next Siemens AI Lab podcast. Cheers.